Jeff, how's your family?
Family's good. Family is good. And yours?
It's good, good. I watch your family a little bit on social, so it's fun to kind of see them all come alive.
Oh,
Um,
thank you.
yeah, that's good. All right, good. So Jeff, I'm looking forward to talking with you. I've been doing these Facebook Lives every day, and you and I got connected because we have the same business coach, Dave Meltzer. So shout out to Dave, who's the greatest. But I wanted to talk to you because you're a serial entrepreneur. And right now, you are CEO of Everbowl, which is, just an amazing company. But I just want to talk about how you're weathering the storm right now. What are you guys doing? You're a food, you're a food company. So what are you guys doing that can maybe help other people?
Sure. So when this first happened, we had to lay off 400 people and close 28 stores. We did that in the middle of March. And it was unprecedented times, but with the fear of everything and everyone going into shelter in place and our stores being in Arizona and California, we felt that employee and customer safety was our first priority. And we had to shut everything down until we could figure out what to do. So we did that I believe we shut everything on March 19th. And then immediately we huddled as an exec team and said, okay, this is the situation. We're not victims. We're going to figure out what we need to do to move forward. And so what we ultimately decided to do was launch a concept that we now have, which is called Later Bowls, which is we spun up a website with Shopify and started selling our bowls direct to consumer. So anyone in the country can go on a later shop.everbowl.com and buy a Later Bowl box, and we'll overnight it to you, and it'll come in your house, and you can start making Ever Bowls at home. And that was our first pivot, and it's really started to grow. I mean, we've been shipping boxes now all over the country. Sales are growing by the day. We're getting a lot of repeat business, which means people are liking and enjoying that experience of getting their superfoods delivered to the home at an affordable price and getting, again, to interact. And then just coincidentally today, we're very excited, May 1st, to announce that 17 of our 28 stores reopened in Southern California. And we're now offering to go and pick up now, effectively literally today. So it's been a whirlwind week trying to reopen 17 stores. And but we've been able to rehire almost 200 employees and get people back to work, and be able to, again, to provide that quality nutrition to our consumers. And so we're hoping that, as we start to see traction, we'll scale and open more stores week after week until hopefully we get back to some form of normalcy, while still making sure we're following social distancing protocols and ensuring protection for our employees and customers. And then we also have an app, which we've really pushed now to allow our consumers to order ahead so they don't have to come and wait in line or be around as many people. And so those are the things that we've really been focused on over the last month and a half during this crazy time.
Yeah, I mean, it's hard to believe it's only been a month and a half. It feels like it's been about 6 to 8 months. It's like almost like double years. Yeah. Let me ask you this.
I mean, you're so right. It's crazy how long it's felt.
Let me ask you this. To be able to innovate and pivot so quickly, like you did, that's not easy. I think a lot of companies are finding themselves not being able to be innovative. They've been stuck in 2005 and didn't realize it. And so it's hard for them to be innovative because their foundation isn't even where it should be. So can you just kind of talk a little bit about how, as a serial entrepreneur, you've got a lot of experience, you're innovative in general. And so how now that, during and post COVID, how do you live in a daily innovative mindset, right? I know you do, but what advice would you give to others?
I think it starts with learning, right? So if you're not, as an entrepreneur or a business owner or a leader, if you're not learning about everything that's going on, then it's going to be hard. If you're too focused just on what you do every day, you miss out on so much. So being that I own a chain of restaurants, I'm always reading and learning as much as I can about the industry. So what does that mean? It means even if I don't realize it yet, I'm putting nuggets of information in my brain for a later date. And so just because I follow the industry and I follow what's going on, and over the last couple of years, I've been following the companies that were selling direct to consumer food products and watching the evolution grow of that order on your phone, the Netflix model of food, if you will, where people get home delivery. me and my team, we just follow the trends. And so when we were shut down and we were staring at each other and we said, okay, we can't open our stores, what can we do? Just the knowledge of that being an option was there. It was just there, and it popped up and said, well, we can do this. Why don't we give this a try?
Yeah.
So again, it's not something that's so black and white of 1 + 1 = 2. It's more abstract, that just knows anything you're interested in and anything that you follow, the more information that you're constantly ingesting and learning and being exposed to, you start to just see patterns, you see habits, you see opportunities. And when the time comes, or what I call just-in-time opportunities appear, you can capitalize. And so, that's one of the ways that we've been able to stay innovative, is through the daily, constant, and consistent effort of always be learning. I truly spend 30 minutes a day, no matter what. It's on my calendar, of just sheer a learning window where I want to read and learn about things. Not knowing how I'm going to use it, or if I'm going to use it, or when I'm going to use it, but information and knowledge is power. And the
Yeah.
more you have, the better off you'll be. It's a lead up, but again, same thing goes with relationships, and all the areas that you invest your time now will get dividends later. And so from an innovation perspective, I would say it starts with a foundation of learning and being exposed to more. And just because it's not like, my cohorts might say, Jeff, you own brick and mortar restaurants. What do you care about the direct to consumer food space? Well, I don't, except for the fact that it's food, and that still has a connection to me, and that's an opportunity in the future, and I want to learn and I want to see. And so I was exposed to what they were doing, and I've been following them, and I've placed orders with majority of them over the last year and a half, just to get one delivery so I could experience it. And I've watched how they do their packaging, and we weren't going to do it. I mean, that was never on our radar. I can tell you now, Later Bowls is here to stay. We're going to do this even when the world returns to normal, because it's a great opportunity for us. And so that's kind of been my secret hack to innovation, is I'm just always reading and learning and being observant, and even at things outside of my industry, but have any correlation. It's been important.
Yeah. I'm exactly the same way. I'm going to be 48 this year. And when I was,
Happy birthday.
thanks, man. When I was 18, my dad set me up in a time management class and got me hooked on tapes. And I've been learning ever since. I cannot go a day without spending 30 to 60 minutes listening, watching. I mean, one of my new favorites that I just started was Master's Class.
Oh yeah, I love it.
Yeah, I mean, it's great. It's great. And you can take classes from all these unbelievable CEOs from around the world. And you can learn in 30 to 45 minutes so much stuff. What types of stuff are you doing?
Well, so I like to always be learning. So I have this kind of fun thing that I do where I spend a minimum of 30 minutes to an hour learning something outside of my industry, something brand new. So right now I'm actually learning the stock market. Not that I own some stocks in my retirement account, so I'm not a day trader or anything like that, but I just want to learn more about the stock market. So I bought Udemy courses, and I'm listening on Audible to some stock books that, some Warren Buffett books that I'm right now putting in my brain. I just finished getting my real estate license. I don't plan on pursuing that, but I had some extra downtime during the COVID crisis, and I felt like I should come out with something that will stay with me. So I finished the courses to take my real estate exam. I'll be taking that in a few weeks. And just things like that, which again, I don't know how it will help me, or will it help me, but I can tell you the more knowledge I have in more areas is how I've always been able to enter new markets and disrupt and find innovative ways. And it also makes me more intelligent, so I can have conversations with other amazing people who aren't in my industry and build relationship capital and start to develop that network for future. And so, master classes is great. I've been a subscriber for about 2 years, and I've watched a lot of those videos. I think YouTube is fantastic. Audible.com is the best. If you don't have that, I mean, I live in San Diego, so in a normal day, I spend a good hour plus in my car. And it's such an incredible opportunity to learn. Instead of listening to music and feed my entertainment value, I feed my brain during that time. And it's the little hacks, right? It's the little things we do consistently over a long period of time that will yield the best results. It's not the mountain in front of us, it's the pebble in the shoe, so to speak. And so I just find little ways to do it and feed my brain and feed my interest, and it piques interest, and you learn. And not everything works, for sure. We've tried things that haven't worked, but to continue to try. And I say, as an entrepreneur, your real job is a problem solver. And one of our 5 core values at everbowl is to be change ready. And so that's what we focus on, is understanding that today's a new day and things are always changing, and the world will not ever be the way exactly it was pre-corona. I mean, this is one of those things that will have an impact for the rest of our lives in some manner, and whatever the new normal will be, and no one knows what it's going to be or when it's going to be. And so we all have to be nimble, and we all just have to be ready to adapt.
Yeah, no, I agree. I'm obsessed with Audible. So I retain more when I listen versus when I read. So, but I just downloaded 2 books that someone referred to me. I just started listening. Thinking in Bets by Annie Duke. I don't know if you ever read that one.
I have not, but I followed Annie and her brother, poker players. I love poker.
Right. Yeah, it's supposed to be an amazing book. And then The Hard Thing About Hard Things. And then the other one is Deep Work, who was referred to me by my buddy who's the head of innovation over at PayPal. So, which is
nice. Deep Work.
Deep Work. Yeah. So those are my 3 latest Audible downloads I thought I'd share. I
will check those out. We asked, not me personally, but Brian, our chief development officer, asked all of our leaders to read 2 books. One is Extreme Ownership. If you haven't read that, it's a phenomenal book. Yeah. And then my personal all-time favorite book is Relentless, From Good to Great to Relentless by Tim Grover.
It's great. I love that book. I love every word of it.
Me too. So those are the 2 books we asked our leadership team to listen to or read over the last couple weeks. And it's great, and the ability to pass that information and some fun things. Like, I mean, it's cool because me and my friends and my coworkers, we all have, it's not like a formal book club, but it's kind of like an ongoing audible conversation of, hey, I just listened to this incredible thing, you should listen to it. And the more people who are talking about it, it's just, you're learning, you're getting exposed to information and ideas, and that's where it all comes from. I mean, that's where it all happens.
Yeah. Let's I want to just dive into something, because I just love your innovative mind. You know how to disrupt a market. You've talked about how you can, because of how you're studying, you're looking at different things from different perspectives to disrupt a market. I think this next decade is going to be a year of a lot of disruption, a lot of adaptability, and a lot of change that many people can't even comprehend right now. We're sitting here 2020, May 1st. The world's going to look completely different 10 years from now, in 2030. Where does disruption meet kind of day to day, right? It's like, where do you slot in, like, how to disrupt a day? Because it's like you said, like the little pebbles throughout the day that end up being a big boulder 18 months from now.
Right.
Yeah. So what's your secret to, how do you put that into your day and inspire your team to do the same? Because as a leader, you do it, but then how do you inspire your team to do it?
Well, so I'm always working on that. I mean, obviously having great people around me helps, because some of their strengths are my weaknesses, and I don't know if I inspire others as well as I do myself. I've always been able to hold myself accountable and at the highest level, and sometimes I struggle. I mean, I have 2 daughters, and I don't always communicate effectively of what I would love to see happen. But I'm assuming that's probably true for any parent. But realistically, for me, it's been, and I don't want to say contrarian, because contrarian is not the way I view the world, but if everybody in an industry is doing the same thing, there's time for some new ideas. And that's just been my little hack, where I look at an industry and I'm like, why is everyone doing it this way? And a lot of times it's just because that's the way we've always done it. And that right there is dangerous thinking. That is not adaptable. I mean, you just nailed it. The world is going to be so different from the next decade. We're going to see entire industries disappear, and in new industries pop up, and we're going to see new industries shaped. Like, I mean, I hate to pick on anyone, but the one that I was having a conversation with a friend yesterday on is just the gym space, with the coronavirus and gyms, and how you have these big brick and mortar gyms that are not going to necessarily be the same, because people aren't going to want to be around so many sweaty, breathing people, and people had to work out during this time. So like myself, I built a home gym.
Yeah.
I've been a 24-hour fitness member since I was 13 years old, and it was called Family Fitness. And will I keep my membership? Yeah, because I pay next to nothing because I've been grandfathered in. But
Right.
if I was a member today and had to pay today's dues, I just built a gym.
Yeah.
So am I realistically going to keep that going? And so the gyms have to adapt, and they're going to have to become more boutiquey and more focused on feeling a niche, as opposed to, maybe I'm wrong, maybe I'm right. I don't know. I hope I'm wrong. I don't want to see the gyms disappear, but I think they're going to have to adapt. Same thing with like movie theaters and the traditional movie theater. I just read in the news yesterday, AMC is fighting with Universal Pictures because Universal Pictures put out Trolls 2 direct to consumer on where you could just buy it. And they made more money than they did when they rolled out Trolls 1 through traditional movie theaters.
Oh, I was wondering that because I saw they just did it. I've been asking Mike. Yeah.
Yep. And I'll tell you, so AMC AMC theaters around the world just came out and said they will not show any Universal movies again inside their movie theaters, because Universal put out their movie direct to consumer and had such success that they said that's what they're going to do moving forward. And now all of a sudden you have these traditional 20 acre movie theater sites with 900 seats that they're going to have to adapt, because I think you have the luxury cinemas where you get the meal and it's big screen, that's an experiential thing. And then you have the old school movie theaters, which they show the old movies that you just want to see, kind of, that you don't normally get to. But
Right.
the traditional ones are going to have to adapt. And I think that's the scary thing for a lot of people in this next decade, is how everyone's going to have to adapt. Even me as a restaurateur. I mean, restaurants, the traditional way we used to go to restaurants is going to be different for a while. Yeah. So what do we do to adapt? Is it store through a door? Is it direct, is it just takeout only? I mean, all of these things that require us to adapt. And it's about embracing change instead of being afraid of it. It's about accepting that yesterday's over and today it's going to be different. How can we be different? How do we disrupt what we were doing so we can make sure that we survive and not be left with, a horse and carriage after the Model T came out? Yeah. That's the critical thing. And there's going to, if you look at 2008, we had such great companies get birthed through the last recession, like Airbnb and Uber, and the whole gig economy came from the last one. What's going to come from this one? And we're going to see it. I mean, I can't predict it. I'm not the person who knows all the answers by any means. Right. I can just say and suggest that everybody focus on looking at what you used to do, why you used to do it, and what can be done differently. And put yourself in the coronavirus mindset. Make a list of every process, procedure, and thing inside your company. This is the way we used to do it. This is the, like what we're doing right now through social media and through, teleconferencing. This is different, right? This was slowly being adopted by a lot of people. But face-to-face meetings were still the number one thing 4 months ago.
Right.
Now, I don't know that anyone wants to do face-to-face meetings. People enjoy this, right? Yeah. The ability for me and you to be face-to-face, but not be sitting in the same room, not have to fight traffic to get there, not have to do those things. This might become more of a new norm. So how can you implement this into your business? Whether it's, if you're a small family medical office, can you start introducing teledoctoring and Zoom doctoring and tutoring? My mom tutors students in school, and they used to come to her house and tutor. Now she's doing it through Zoom. Well, now she can tutor 7 students at once.
Yeah.
So she can maximize her schedule better and be more efficient and actually generate, less per customer, but more total dollars on a daily basis and serve more people on a daily basis. And it's just, again, it's about thinking through what you do and how your business adapts. And a friend of mine is, he teaches soccer one-on-one training. He started doing it through Zoom, and he's telling me he's doing more business now than he ever was. And he gets to charge his customers less because it's through the computer, right. But he gets to watch them dribble and do this and jump through multiple students at one time. Yeah. And it's like, that's exciting. Yeah. And that's how you can disrupt your own industry.
Yeah, no, that's amazing. And I love everything. I love and I agree with everything you just said. The only thing I want to add on to that is listening to the whispers of what seems not a big deal. So for example, my kids are 14 and 17. For the last 10 years, it's almost impossible to get them to want to go to a movie. They don't want to go to the movie theater. There's times where we'll go pick up popcorn from the movie theater and watch a movie at our house because we have one close to our house. but they just very rarely like to go. Like when I was a kid, I loved going to the movies with my grandfather. Loved going to the movies with my friends. But that's it. I mean, so trolls, and when you're stuck at home, people are more apt. They just want to kind of stay in, regardless of Corona or not. I think people just, these generations are the younger generations want instant gratification. They don't want to have to spend 45 minutes to, do the routine when they can just sit on their couch and or wait 2 weeks for it to get to on demand. But listening to what those trends are from different generations, and it doesn't have to be a pandemic in order to activate it. I think that's the pandemic activated a lot of these things where if people take a little bit more executive time and think about it, they can pioneer it fast on their own when we're not in a pandemic.
Oh, I couldn't agree with you more. Yeah. I think you just exactly. And you're right. I mean, this younger generation, my daughters are 14 and 8, and they're just not, I grew up, we didn't have a million channels and stuff. So going to the movies was like this experiential thing. Right. But now the TVs are so good and the couch is so comfortable that for them, that is better than the movie. They don't need to go sit in a chair and not be able to go to their kitchen and lounge on the couch. I mean, so I get it. I love the movies. I grew up going to the movies. So for me, it's a more nostalgia thing. And I would hate to see movies disappear completely. And in some movies, you just want to see on the big screen or get the vibe that comes from the entire theater. But things are going to change, and the companies that are nimble enough and focus internally to say, how are we going to change, and not wait for the industry to change, but be on the cutting edge of it and on the front end of change, are the ones who will survive. And the ones who don't, unfortunately, won't. And that's the critical thing for anyone listening is don't be one of the companies that don't survive because you refuse to accept change.
The two books we talked a lot about books earlier, but two great books that I think are necessary. One, which I just had my kids read last week, is I gave them a list of business books to read while they're home. I mean, I told them I'd pay them for every one they read, but you have to you gotta know your audience. But
got to know your audience.
But Who Moved My Cheese, which I think is a very relevant book for right now, and Crossing the Chasm by Jeffrey Moore. Did you ever read Crossing the Chasm?
I have. I've read both of those books. I love Crossing the Chasm, the green cover.
Yeah.
Crossing the physical. That's the one I have physical. Who Moved My Cheese? I read but I read that through Audible, but I actually own the physical book of Crossing the Chasm.
Yeah. Crossing the Chasm is a book that everybody should read right now. It's going to be very relevant for the next decade as it relates to laggards and pioneers and industries. So Jeff, a couple of last questions I have for you. Your business is all about making friends and having fun, right? That's something that you kind of coined it around. And so now making friends and having fun has an additional definition, right? So, an additional kind of category. So how are you, how is your company making friends and having fun in a different energy space?
Well, I mean, that's a great question. Obviously, for us, making friends and having fun, the way we use it, we say it so tongue-in-cheeky, but there's so much more depth to those two phrases. In the restaurant space, when I tell my employees, make friends and have fun, those are the two rules at Everbowl. When that includes everything from being punctual, because you don't leave your friend waiting for you at the movies and show up 20 minutes late,
right,
or the restaurant. It's acting with integrity. It's being respectful. It's being dependable. It's all those functions. But as far as the social distancing component, it's now respecting those boundaries. It's now making sure that customers get that Everbowl experience in a safe manner and making their transaction seamless and smooth, so they want to come back and they feel safe, because safety is another element of making friends. And then having fun with it, understanding so our masks, we gave all of our employees masks, and we wrote 3 fun phrases on them. So they're all branded, and they get to kind of experience a little bit, whether it says eat positively or love forever with our logos on it. And cool. We're trying to keep it. I don't want to downplay the severity of coronavirus, because it's impacted in so many families and it has unfortunately killed so many people. But this is the new norm. And for those of us who are healthy and those of us who are trying to get society back to some sort of normalcy, how can we make light of and bring lightness to such a dark, heavy situation. And okay, if we have to wear masks, then let's wear masks and have fun doing it. Like, we wear shoes, and we wear the kind of shoes that fit us. Same thing with masks. Let's do it. Let's make fun of what some people feel is obtrusive or a negative. Let's make it fun. Let's make it something where now you get to express yourself. You get to enjoy the experience of protecting yourself and others while being who you are. And so, it's that kind of mentality that we're trying to adapt, and then use more technology where we can. We're really trying to figure out ways that we can gift health and wellness to families who maybe are stuck at home. We donated a lot of food to the hospitals locally. We did it with Kaiser, we did it with Sharp, and we did it with Palomar Hospital, where we donated coffee, we donated bowls, because we want to help the front line. We want to be a part of that. And that's just what we're trying to accomplish. I mean, are we perfect? No. Are we the end all be all with it? No. There's so many amazing companies doing incredible things, but we're playing our part, and we're going to continue to try. And I mean, the number one job as an entrepreneur and business owner is to stay in business today. That's the number one job.
That's it. Well, what I love about what you're doing is, throughout history, everybody loves to laugh and everybody needs to smile, and especially during a crisis. So if you can do that and put a smile on somebody's face through what you write on a mask, along with other things you're doing, I think that's great. So congratulations to you, and the comeback. I know it's not 100% back from COVID, but it sounds like we're on our way. My last question to you is, what's one piece of advice that you would give somebody listening or watching or listening to this later, right now?
Don't be a victim. COVID impacted all of us. I had to shut down 28 restaurants and lay off almost 400 people. I could have been a victim. I could have said, why me, etc. My employees who got laid off could have been a victim and said, why me? You could be a victim and say, why me? But if you're a victim, unfortunately, that's not how progress happens. You can do that for 5 minutes, then wipe your face, wipe your tears, put a smile on your face, and now embrace the new challenge of today. We're all, for anyone listening, you're alive. You have an opportunity. There's a lot of opportunity out there, and we're going to make the best of it. And if you get out of the victim mindset, you will proceed in a positive manner. If you stay in the victim mindset, you just won't. And that's the most critical thing. And that's what I'm giving advice to everyone. My kids, my daughter's so bummed because she made the lacrosse team in high school and her season got canceled, and she's a freshman, and she's never going to get that freshman year back. And it sucks. And she was really hoping to really progress. And I'm like, well, okay, you could be a victim and be upset that it got canceled, or you could pick up your lacrosse stick and get in the best shape of your entire life because you have more time on your hands, and you can watch videos and you can hone some skills that you were never going to work on. So when you do come back to school next year, you're the best lacrosse player on the team. That's an opportunity. Yeah. It's unfortunate. Yes, there are sad parts to it, but don't be a victim. And that would be my advice. And if I can pass that off to as many people as I can, then I'm doing my part.
That's great. I just want to add, we're talking books, and when I talk books just kind of come into my head. But when you talk about that, 5 minutes, 2 books come to mind. One, Tuesdays with Maury by Mitch Albom. What a great book. One of my favorites, when Maury talks about he would give himself 5 minutes a day to feel sorry for himself. That was it.
That's right.
And then James Clear, Atomic Habits. He wrote.
I haven't read that one.
Oh, it's great. And so one of the things he writes about in his book is set time to worry. I thought it was so simplistic yet so brilliant, right? So set 5 minutes. Set 5 minutes in your calendar to worry, and then worry, and then let it go. And then if you worry during the day, say, you know what? I'll just put that. I'll worry more about it during my time. So
it's called Atomic Habits. I'm going to check that out.
Yeah, it's Atomic Habits by James Clear. It's great. Hey, Jeff, I can't thank you enough. It's always a pleasure connecting with you. I'm very grateful that Dave Meltzer connected us. You're always full of wisdom and great thoughts. I love your attitude. Congratulations on, all your success and just bringing a lot of positivity into your company and to the world. So thanks very much.
Well, thank you so much for having me, and thank you for doing this, because I think what you're doing is promoting and propelling these ideas from so many different people and bringing new concepts to people that might not have access to the information or just change their perspective and way of thinking. And I'm a big fan of yours, Jon. So thank you so much for having me today. Yeah. And I can't wait to hang out some more.
I know. We'll talk. Thanks, Jeff. I appreciate it, man.
Bye.